All right. Okay, let's start with, I'm on the first chart, CV19, College Admissions Effects and Questions, Part 1. The first chart will deal mostly with effect on you. I'm on the screen here, hold on. Okay, there it is. Okay, colleges suddenly are plunged into uncertainty by the local and federal response to the coronavirus outbreak. That's what we're finding right now. I've been talking a lot to colleges. I'm trying to find a way to manage my screen. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Only a quick and drastic lessening of public fear and/or the very different government response will return things to normal. So it's not normal in the college world right now. You need to understand that. I talked to 3 or 4 college people who are in charge of enrollment, and they are terrified of the effect on enrollment to their colleges. Keep that in mind. There's been a 60% economic shutdown for an undetermined period of time, and there's the effect on EEP. Some people have asked, we are continuing. We've slowly moved things to platforms like this meeting. Our SAT prep is going online. We're still planning to do the trade tech classes. They may be going online. And a lot of families college conferencing we can do can also go to video conferencing or go online as well. So we're adjusting to it. We're still planning the classes in our summer program. For those, how it affects 12th graders is those students are going to do pre-med. We highly, did I say highly? Yes. We highly recommend that they take some kind of a prep class before they do biology and or chemistry, that they actually take biology from a 2-year college before they go. It lessens the chance, actually reduces to 0, the chance of a bad grade the first year pre-med and then stopping your major before you even started. So we'll talk more about that in our next meeting, actually. There have already been significant effects on colleges and incoming freshman classes, we found. Most colleges did send home their students. I know you heard that in the news, did you not? At costs of millions of dollars. So the schools have suffered lost rent and tuition. There was a cancellation of March Madness, right? It's costed the NCAA nearly $2 billion. So a lot of money strictly gone to smaller schools. They're not getting that money this year. Filing claims for tuition are filing claims for tuition. You heard about UC, those 100 students at UC San Diego that are trying to get money back for having online classes. Again, just sharing with you what's going on at colleges. Go ahead and close your microphones if you can. That'd be really great. If you can just close your microphones.
Okay.
If you can, you'll see a chance to close your microphone on the screen there. If you can close that, that'd be great. Then that way you can continue on what you're doing. Some colleges sheltered in place since their governors were concerned. So a lot of schools, like I was just talking to Sister Cupid, who just sheltered in place, right? They didn't send their kids home because they were concerned about sending kids home to grandparents, right? And of course, we've indeed in San Diego seen several infections due to San Diego State students returning home. That was in the news. If they just stayed on campus, many believe that wouldn't have happened. Go ahead and close your microphones, please. If you have a chance, if you can mute, I'd appreciate that. You can mute that out. Colleges are bracing for reduced enrollment, right? Due to fears about traveling, et cetera. And there's going to be more special circumstance financial aid awards given the economic situation. A lot of you who are directly affected, there's people just not going to be able to work at all in this situation. If that could be shown, that will help people. But once again, please close your microphones. I really appreciate that if you close your microphones. Thank you so very much. Appreciate that. And you could open it when you have a question, of course, right? Private schools are suffering and will suffer the most, right? So private schools, I'm just, in the Q&A, you can see I was mentioning that private schools are going to have to take a look at this. My take is there will be some adverse effect on the financial aid awards, but it will vary from school to school, depending on how the school has responded. In the case of state schools, how much money they can expect from the federal government in the recent bill that was passed. And I'm still analyzing that. All right, here's today's session agenda. What are the 3 possibilities for admission decision? What if I do not get into college I really want? What about two-year college? Attend without visiting? Will scholarships help me? What if I can't visit? And what about class registration? Sounds like I'm a game show host. Okay, what are the three possibilities for the admission decision? Yes? No? Wait. Let's look into each one of those, okay? Okay, and I'll see if I have any no questions yet. Oh, maybe let me look. Okay, I think we're doing okay so far. And you know the decision is by May 1st on the case of a admission. So you could have like multiple schools that have admitted you. So when you have multiple schools that have admitted you, of course, you have to decide which one gets the decision by May 1st. Now I say May 1st, but you really need to wrap it up by April 20th in the case of schools that don't have a lot of housing, right? You don't want to wait till May 1st, wrap it up, then you don't have housing. Okay, I have a raised hand. Sister Bailey, speak right up, open your mic.
Hi, I was wondering if you were waitlisted, do you still have until May 1st before they tell you if you're admitted?
I'll cover that in a moment. Very good question.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent question. If I don't cover it right, you raise your hand and yell at me, okay?
Gotcha.
Good to see you here today, Sister Bailey. All right, okay. What does admitted mean, first of all, right? For all schools, by May 1st, you must deposit for admissions to, quote, have your spot. Now, I'm talking about admission now, if you're admitted, okay? For CSU, accepting, CSU is kind of quirky. When you accept admission, they allow you to get housing information, but it's not binding till you make the deposit. You see that with Western state schools, like Boise State's that way too. Excuse me, where you accept it, get your housing information, and it's not binding. Let me stop there. Sister Kimberly Kelly, open your mic and let me know. No, just thought about her because of that item. All right. For CSU also, they have the concept of conditional admission. It's very unusual. It means provided you don't have any D's or F's and no significant reduction in cumulative GPA and you retained your index, you'll still be admitted to the school. They're just making sure that they document your performance stays the same. UC is the same way, they just don't say it. Okay, they don't tell you that, but it's the same thing with UC. The next step is enrollment, right? After admission, which includes deposit of housing. Hey, this is a shout out for Sister Williams. Deposit of housing, application for PLUS loan, registering for orientation, and registration for classes. That was a shout out for Sister Sonia Williams. If you were here earlier in question and answer, she asked that great question. When do you apply for the PLUS loan? I think it's at this point right here. What does rejection mean? We actually have to explain rejection. It means you are not accepted to the freshman class. A student can ask about appeal, which may be more effective this year, who knows, since the attendance patterns are so changed and schools are so confused about what's going to happen. Like if you're at a school, like some UCs get a lot of students from out of state, so those are terrified, aren't they? They might be likely to look at a student who is rejected if they call back and ask, right? Because don't you think that they can't tolerate a reduced enrollment, cha-ching, right? So you can ask about an appeal, I'm saying this year, right? So rejection, you can ask about it. However, as with any appeal, there are three problems when you appeal, right? One, waitlisted students will be reviewed first. If there are waitlist students, once they've gone through May 1st and they see they don't have enough students, they look first at the waitlist, right? Which this year they may have more waitlist students they've ever had. By the way, every school doesn't have a waitlist. There's only certain schools that do. That's another whole issue. Some students do their waitlist by rejecting students and seeing who appeals, right? Students who can prove there is something wrong in the review, has to be something wrong, will be looked at before appeals for other reasons. So you first look at waitlist, they look at ones who prove that there's something wrong on the application. In other words, my application, I didn't give you the right transcript, here's the right one. Or, gosh, I didn't include all my SAT scores, here it is here, okay? If there's something wrong, right? It'll be, look, that's like a court appeal, right? There has to be something wrong in the case. They don't hear every appeal. See if there's any questions there. Sometimes that provokes a few questions. No, the hand up thing is working good if you use that. Let's see. Other appeal students will not get grant aid since the budget is deleted or expended by the time the appeals. So they might consider your appeal, say, May 15th, but all the money's gone, right? All the money's gone and bringing in the students that are coming in for that year. All right, now we get the wait list. What does wait lists mean? Now, before I get into this, I have a nice article about it on the website. If you go to my website and scroll all the way down, I wrote an article for the church about waitlisting, and I did one also to the parents. I sent you the link earlier, but I'm going to talk about it here right now. The college university believes that a student can succeed on the campus, but the campus does not have the budget or resources to offer admissions. Some schools will place some of these students on a wait list, okay? Many times, usually in 30 to 45 days after May 1st, colleges will return to the wait list. Now, keep this in mind. At this point, there's been no deposit. In fact, most schools will send you a deposit right back to you because they think if they accept the deposit, they're telling you you're in, right? So they won't take any money till they'll tell you. You ever heard of "Don't call me, I'll call you"? They'll let you know if your student can come into the school. They will actually let you know that, okay? So that should answer the question about depositing. So if you're on a wait list, you've not made a deposit. Now, where have you made a deposit, you think? Well, where you've made your deposit is to another school that the student is willing to attend. You must deposit to another school. You'll have to assume you're not going to go to the school. You need to deposit. A lot of people miss that, and they think they can just go back to the school. The other school will understand. In their world, you missed the May 1st deposit date. Every school has their own separate world, right? All right. Sister LaWanda, does that answer the question? Could you open your mic, let me know? Yes? Yes, maybe?
Yes, it did. I didn't know you could see that question I was asking.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm on it today. I got extra sleep last night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know you could see that. Yeah, I was
Yes,
just
ma'am.
wondering. Okay.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. So then I have another one too.
Go
So
right ahead.
if you are if you've gotten acceptance at CSU, but you're still waiting for the universities and the private schools, and then the one that you really want comes in later, can you then back out of the CSU, or no, you're stuck?
Hey, it's a free country. You can back out, but they'll keep the deposit. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Now, the housing deposit, you might get back most of that. That's why I always ask the question, how far will you go? When you start depositing, how far will you go? Now, keep in mind, we're not to May 1st yet, but it's still a legitimate question. Like, say you like 3 schools and you deposit to all 3. Now, see, I'm not one of these people that tells you, I know I'm violating some NACAC rule, just report me to the National Association, I guess. I'm not supposed to tell you. I'm supposed to tell you, you only deposit to 1 school, But say you deposit to 3. I always ask, how far will you go? Will you deposit for housing for all 3? Since depositing for 1, if you're really trying to make them all even, you got to do all those. What about the orientation and registration deposits? Will you do those? So it's always a question of how far do you go? Remember, you don't have to deposit till May 1st to hold a spot in the university. Now that I say that, there's some CSUs where the housing is kind of shorter supply than others. So be careful and check with me to make sure there's no surprises that, okay, I finally pivoted to the CSU, but there's no housing and I'm terrified. So let me know if specific CSUs, I can tell you their situations. I know those very well. Did that answer? Sister Bailey?
Yes,
Okay.
it did. Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank
cool. Okay, funding will be greatly reduced. So when they come to you on that wait list, the funding may be greatly reduced or inexistent at that point. This is why the schools in their letters tell you to make sure you deposit somewhere else. And they give you a wait list letter. All right, see the website for more. Are any questions? I'm move on from this idea of yes, no, and wait. Sounds like God, right? God always says yes, no, or wait. All right, What if I do not get into the college I really want? Take some time to work through it. I don't tell people just live with it, take some time, but life does need to go on. Review the other schools to which you are or will be accepted. It's a good time to think again about your career, because sometimes, there was a certain way people viewed their career at this other school. It's a good time to understand that success in life is often 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. It's just not linear. Life is not linear. We adults know that. Man, we've had disappointments and setbacks, but yet we still move ahead. Life is often 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's an unfortunate truth. That's an early adult life lesson. And what can I say? I have more about that on my website if you want to take a look at my response to that question. I actually cover that too. What about a 2-year college? Before we do that, let me check to see how we're doing with our chat. Okay, yeah, I just saw Sister Bailey there. Okay, it's cool. All right. Remember, there are 2 uses for 2-year college. Try to remember there are 2 uses. First of all, there's credit recovery. Hope you never need that, students, where you get a D or an F in college, you have to do the class over. Or enhancement for 4-year college, right? Enhancement means that you're going to take credits early and get it for a lower price from a 2-year college. This is the one that allows you to graduate earlier, right? Or graduate before you thought you would, or be able to get an extra minor or something because you're taking your general ed classes and getting them faster because you're doing it in the summer. And I recommend starting this summer. I think this summer should not be wasted. The only argument for wasting this summer now, but I don't see any argument now, with all the schools definitely going to have more online offerings. You can start this summer. We'll start offering for credit courses online. We're still going to do that with trade tech. That they may even still be in person. They have not officially canceled the online at our church. I just had a response back on that, Christina. I was respecting. You're seeing the latest thing I see up here now, okay? I know Christina's wondering about that. It's an alternative to the first year or 2 years of college, right? So those are the 2 ways we use 2-year college. It can be an alternative to going to a campus, or it could be credit recovery and enhancement if you go to the 4-year college campus. LA Trade Tech College is one of our 2 that we like. We also like El Camino College Project Success. They're 2 very different 2-year colleges. One is more career and job oriented in parallel with the degree, and has great teacher mentorships. El Camino College has that Project Success, which is a great in-house and rich. Imagine me inside the 2-year college. That's what Project Success is. So those are the 2 we like the best. Now there's other 2-year colleges in California that may be more convenient to you, but this is the 2 that we like for those reasons. Any questions on that? How to graduate in 4 years or less. That wasn't specifically in the agenda, but I couldn't resist, okay? Because we have about 1/3 of our students that do graduate in less than 4 years. We've had students leave schools, lose time, and get their time back because they've got on this plan. And they end up finishing 4.5 years, even though they lost a year. Isn't that weird? If you just get on this plan, then if something goes wrong, you can fall back. Let me show you how that works. Here's a plan for each one of 4 years. Notice my plan has 4 years. I don't even get into thinking about a 5th year like the government does. The rule is if you take 15 to 17 credits per semester, most schools you graduate with 121 to 123 credits. Okay? Now engineering's typically 130, right? Maybe 131. But my plan has 141. So you have time to get a minor, maybe even a second major in the 4 years. But more importantly, you can graduate early. If you just go through the summer, you may accumulate enough credits with this plan. Actually, through the summer and maybe one more augmented semester with, say, 17 or 18 credits, and you got it. Because if any one of those 15 credit ones, which is the minimum, is 17 or 18 credits, which isn't a lot. You have like 4 credit courses. There are a lot of 4 credit courses like foreign language and things like that. You can easily finish in 3 years. We've had students finish in 3 years. It happens quite often, 3.5 years. 4 years should be easy to hit if you're following this plan. And notice students, I say in the summer, you're taking 1 or 2 classes in the summer. That's going to be the norm as you go through. You don't want your parents to pay any more on their parent loan than they have to. That's a real key. That's one of the 18 things that you need to do to reduce your parents' plus loan. I won't be covering that today. I'll be covering that next meeting, but this is definitely going to be one of them to follow this plan right here. So you could finish in 3+ years. I mean, people talk about 4, you could do it even sooner. But certainly I don't like the idea of, a 5th year to get a second major when there's huge parent debt. They have the parents doing 20,000 a year. Why make it an even 100,000? There's no reason to do that, right? So we can always get our major, go to work, get experience on your resume. That if you want to go back to school, you can certainly do that. Okay. Questions? All right. Oh, so got somebody out there trying to get my attention. I'll check on it in a minute. The old man will be there in a second. Would you be able to, would this translate to the quarter system? Yes, yes. I have a chart for the quarter. I knew somebody would ask that, and I see your question, Kyle. I'll get to it in a minute. Would this translate quarter? Yeah, I would just, same thing. I would take quarters. You have to take a minimum of typically 9 credits. I would make it, I'll make it 9 to 14 credits, 9 to 13 credits per quarter, and you got it. You have plenty to graduate. Just see your advisor, keep this in mind. Your advisor is an advisor, they're not a director. I'm gonna cover that this next meeting. I'm only gonna say a little bit about registration today, but your advisor is not a director of your life. Ask them, are they gonna pay for your classes if they try to push you to take lower amount? Because they have this opinion sometimes that you're this poor little helpless Black or Hispanic child that needs their help. Don't let them do that to you. No, you take the limited classes or more and you keep yourself nice and busy. I want you good and busy when you're in college. So even on a quarterly system, you would translate out, and I can help you with that. I have a table for quarterly. I just didn't show it right here, okay? I'll be glad that you want you to just email me. I'll send you that just tomorrow. Just remind me, okay? And Kylie, is it reasonable to take that many credits as a freshman? Yes. You mean 18 credits as a freshman? Remember, I counted the summer. Remember, see what I did, Kylie? I made it 15 plus 3, right? And then the other thing is it reasonable to have 5 classes? Well, the way I usually answer that is, depends on what the 5 classes are. We'll cover it next week. I wish I had done it this week. Wait till I show you the mixture of the classes. Now, is it intelligent, Kylie, to take, biology, philosophy, and 5 really heavy classes? No, but how about fulfilling your phys ed requirement, your music, your art requirement? How about fulfill? Those are all requirements. How about then doing 3 solid academic courses? That would be 15 credits too, wouldn't it? So it's the mixture of classes that makes it reasonable, Kylie. Okay? And we look at it that way. I'm glad Kylie asked that. Look at the second year. You're doing 21 credits. Don't forget about summer. See the trick that's being pulled there? So the other thing, Kylie, I want to make clear is there's some classes that you'll be required to take that are 4 credits. Let's see, is Quinn hearing this? Does Quinn hear this? I think foreign language, Quinn, or somebody help me. Foreign language and lab classes and certain classes are actually 4 credits. But you'll see that when you get further along in your major. I hope that's does that help, Kylie? I hope. You said thank you. Okay, so that means it helps. All right, that's pretty cool. Okay. All right. Moving right along here. Attend without visiting? No. I advise against it. I don't change on that. I don't think it's a good idea. I'll try to put some more flesh on it here today. What about virtual visits? That's usually what people respond. And, really, it makes me backtrack and say, what's the reason for a visit? Just remember, a campus is people and organizations, which means it's a feeling you get after seeing them, right? It's not just buildings, especially if you're going to go to a small school in another state. You want to be sure that your student sees that campus. And here's the other thing. When a student visits a school, they get emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically committed. I always say so that when a problem occurs, and there's a challenge, and there'll always be some kind of challenge, the student will feel more committed to the school than if the school was just kind of like an image in their mind. I mean, there's something about touching and feeling. Now, some colleges will change their due date to June 1st, because there's some of us that believe, I know it's hard to believe, but by the end of April, things may be a little different in travel and everything. Check with the
I have a
admissions office and
question.
see. Remember, other schools may still use May 1st. So check with the school to see if they give you that extra. Like I would check with Lake Forest, Sister Glover, and I would find out. They could give us till June. You might be surprised at their answer. Because remember, Sister Glover, they are terrified right now about what's going to
Okay,
happen.
can you hear me? I'm sorry, I'm not on Zoom, so I can't raise my hand.
No, yeah, you just bust right in. You remember, you get that permission.
Yeah. So with the school that he was looking at, they did want him to come out, not only to look at the school, but also for maybe possibly plan for the school. And, you know, they were saying that he would actually get additional funding if he actually just came out to visit the school.
Correct. So I would get a timeline from them as things open up in the next, I predict in 2 to 4 weeks, we'll be looking at a different situation. Nobody believes me, but that's my prediction.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did talk to her, and he is set up to do a virtual tour, and she said that would take place of the him actually physically coming out because of the situation that's going on now.
Now, I don't doubt that the school will say that a virtual visit is great. I just gave the JW opinion of them. Just remember that. School will definitely think it's good enough.
Okay.
Because they want to get that enrollment done, don't you think?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I still love them touching and feeling. So they buy in, and it's their decision to the youth.
Right. I mean, we were going to, like I said, we were going to go out, but because of all this, we couldn't. And
right.
Maybe, like he said, maybe we could in like later part of May or June or August or something like that. And they said even if we do make the deposit, because they're only requesting $200 deposit, and if we decide not to, then they will refund that back.
Get that in writing?
Yeah, I got it in writing from the admission counselor.
Yeah, sounds like you're leaning toward that school. Just remember everything I said about definitely touch and feel.
Okay.
Virtual visits are cool. There's nothing wrong with them, but you want to sense the people.
Right. To see.
What do they like? Are they right? You know, what state is Lake Forest? And I forgot already. Isn't that a shame?
Chicago.
Oh, it's in Illinois.
Illinois, yeah. It's right outside Chicago. Correct. I didn't hear you.
Is it downstate or upstate?
I'm not sure.
Check. If it's downstate, what I said was extremely relevant. Upstate, less relevant.
Well, I mean, what's the difference? I know they're like maybe
downstate is more south. It's more small townish.
Well, I know they're 45 minutes away from O'Hare Airport.
Oh, so they're upstate. They're right near Chicago.
Uh-huh.
That's an urban school. That's an urban school then. Okay. All right. So you have less risk that he won't like the campus. There's less risk. Okay.
And I actually spoke with a parent from there also, because they were out here in California, and we went to one of the events.
Yeah, right. That's all very good. All good. That's all good. That addresses it. Most people don't have that option with a smaller school, so you will have that too. So it sounds like that's the direction you're thinking about, and that as long as he's happy with that's a great idea. By the way, he could play football at Sacramento, right?
Let me say that again.
You could play football at Sac State too, right?
Yeah, well, he plays basketball.
Basketball.
And we're looking at that also, because at least he will be able to get the Cal grant from here.
That's right.
If he stays in.
Okay.
So hopefully we got prayers out.
Okay. All right. Anybody else on this? Okay. Will scholarships help me? We're making good time here, by the way. Process check. Yes, but it's highly likely the scholarship or sponsorship will cover only indirect costs. Remember that. All these scholarships everybody claims is out there, we're talking about $500 to $2,000. it's going to impact the indirect costs. I know it's which you'll say something, you know, even that helps. That's fine, but it won't be part of the heavy lifting. The direct cost is the tuition plus the room and board is 80 to 85% of the total cost. And it's a fixed cost and it's on the bill. The indirect costs are books and supplies, personal expenses, orientation, and they're all controllable expenses. They're not on the bill, okay? It's a good time to think about scholarships though, even though they cover only the indirect costs. You have the WASFO scholarship for members of West Angeles. I think I might have a couple that are on here now. Members of West Day Only will launch in April as normal. Watch closely. Watch our stream services. I may get direction that they only announce it at the stream church services. Hint, hint. Might want to keep an eye on those. April is usually scholarship month. I will always try to email it to you once I get the package approved. I'm actually in charge of that process. When that package is approved, I suspect I'll get a reminder from our scholarship team to email it to you, and I will. The deadline will be the end of May for that one. But then there's the Gwen Thomas sponsorship, which is specifically for non-members. There's a GPA of 3.5 required to even apply. And then we get to the Attendance Merit Awards, which is our Learn and Earn program awarded at the final ceremony. Now, I need to insert something. We're trying to figure out, we're keeping great records on where we are today. In fact, it's a good time for me to check with Quinn, I believe, to see if we're keeping track. How's the attendance coming? You see it?
Yeah,
We know who's here.
Mm-hmm. If
Do you
anybody
need?
hasn't typed in their first and last name, please do so now in the chat.
Yeah, say that one more time.
If anybody hasn't put their first and last name into the chat, please do that now.
Yeah, the student's first and last name.
Are you able to take it from the email, or can I give it to you later because I'm not able to get in?
So we'll talk about that because I know in your case, it's if parent only is present. We haven't decided how to do that yet. We will note that you're here. So Paula Glover, Paula Glover wasn't on the video, okay, Quinn? She's on the RSVP list. But there's some things I need to say to you. We're going to have to restructure how we'll do points for online sessions. And we'll have that ready in a couple of days. I just had the team doing so many other things. Your points that you had before still apply and they'll carry forward. Some of you asked for an audit of your points. We can't do audits till we can go face to face. As you know, I can't do face to face right now. When we can, we'll be glad to audit and show you how we got the points we got. The key is that under the old arrangement, you had the RSVP and the student had to be present. I mean, the parent was there, was still points, but half the points. So we'll definitely use our old rules for when we did the in-person meetings, and if we ever start back the in-person meetings, which I bet you we will. But right now, we've not made a decision on how to count these. There will be some points for the day for sure, but it won't be at the same level as the in-person ones. We'll definitely get back to you on that. All right.
Okay.
Take questions. I suspect we may have a couple. Oh, here it is. Now I'm a little slow today, guys. All right, here we go. Okay, good. How is it possible? Okay. Now with things going on. I know, I understand this question. It means, how is it possible that we will have meetings again? It's a spiritual sense. Don't know when. I bet it will be, for example, we haven't canceled anything in the summer. We think canceling summer things right now and in May is a little premature, given the fact some things can be moved online, and also that things can be totally different. I know it seems impossible if you're looking at the news every day, which I try not to do, because there's a lot of mistruths and things being emphasized a little too much. So I would say it is still possible, and things going on. Yeah, I look at things differently. I don't assume it'll always be the way it is. And some people have already decided we're closed down for half a year. Not sure where they got that. I have not decided that that's the way things will be. So that's the only way I can really answer that. you know, is because I saw that question. Let's see about visiting colleges. So visiting colleges, let's talk about visiting colleges in the context of that question. Yeah, I did. That's right. I did answer that. Yeah. Yeah. Right now, if I think a person has not visited, they should try to negotiate a later date than May 1st and insist on the visit and work out a visit. I cannot say that I will be traveling because I don't know enough to say I will be. But that's a budget question with me, because when I go, I've got to pay for me and I got to decide how program expenditures are. So that's the answer. I think you indicated that we got that. Okay. All right. Third part, let's talk about scholarships. I know some of these charts you've seen before, but I bet you they look different now all of a sudden. I showed this last back in December. Third-party scholarships are free money given by organizations directly to the college for indirect student costs. Okay. Oops, my cursor's not there. Colleges require that the financial aid office be notified if a scholarship is awarded to a student. Notice I'm using the word scholarship, and it's in quotes above, because there's a difference between a scholarship and a sponsorship. Usually the check is written out to the college when you have a scholarship. In fact, scholarship organizations will be very dogmatic about that usually. Okay. All right. Let's see. Nearly always, colleges first apply the scholarship to the student direct loan. That's what surprises people too. Say you get a scholarship of $3,000 and you notify the college or university, right? They'll basically they'll take 3,000 out of your scholarship and you still end up having to pay that money to the college, even if you got it in your hand. And if they get it, they can easily do it, right? If they get the 3,000, they can just change your financial aid award, lower your loans. So you get it in the form of your loans being lowered, not as cash in your hand. It doesn't end up being cash on a scholarship. Notice I keep saying scholarship with emphasis. Okay. California private colleges, after the loans, scholarships are applied to lower the Cal Grant first. So say you got a Cal Grant, they'll lower your Cal Grant and take that scholarship, right? Magically, there's nothing left for the student. The California state law requires that they take it from your scholarship. So on scholarships, you report it to the school, that's what happens. All right. And sometimes you can't stop the scholarship, person who's given the scholarship, they won't give it to you unless they have a school named on the check. You don't get it in your hands. That's the point of a scholarship. The committee gives it to the school. Okay. Personally, I do not like scholarships. I prefer sponsorships, third-party sponsorships. The fact that West Angeles, we give sponsorships, not scholarships, because the state law and the federal law are very different about sponsorships, which is a bunch of people like get together and say, we want to give money to your student, or students, we want to give you money. It's a free country, last time I checked, we can all chip in and give you money, right? Those are called sponsorships, and those can be given directly to the student. Does everybody understand that? So all of our West Angeles awards, including the Attendance Merit Award and the Gwen Thomas Award and the WASFO, they're all sponsorships. The check we've written out to the student. Some of you have already participated in that, but I believe Sister Mingo knows this. The check goes to the student. Unless you direct us to send it to the school, we've been directed that way before because they might have a matching award or something like that. We will do that. But in general, the check is written out to the student. Does everybody understand the difference between a sponsorship and a scholarship? And the thing that confuses you even more is there's some scholarships like the Delta that operates like a scholarship, but is really a sponsorship. In other words, they end up writing the check out to the student. It's not against the law, it's just different, right? So many of the fraternity and sorority awards end up being sponsorships, really, they call them scholarships. And sometimes I even slip and call the West Angeles a scholarship. I'll slip all the time, but that's wrong. I should say sponsorship. The student is not required to report sponsorships to colleges, but on a scholarship, you are required to report it. Does everybody Get that? It's like a bunch of people get together, give a student money for college in a specified, organized manner. That's what a sponsorship is. It often accidentally and mistakenly is called a scholarship, but does act like a scholarship. And there's a statement about the West End Scholarship Fund and the regular attending program for participants. Any questions on that? Let me see if anybody's jingling my bell there. Nope. Okay. Okay, so about the colleges who give scholarships. They give institutional need-based grants or free money. They don't really, as I explained in the earlier session, it's not really money. It's lowering the college cost, the direct college costs. Money does not really change hands, as I said before. Each year it's reassessed, looking at your financial needs. So if you get, a merit award of $20,000 based on your high school grades, that doesn't change. But say you get $10,000 because of need, and then the income changes, you might lose that $10,000 the next year. Every year it goes up and down. NBG, there is need-based grants. It can go up or down. Sometimes we call these university grants. Like each university will have a need-based component. For UC and CSU need-based grants, the Cal grant is a need-based grant. The university grant is a need-based grant. Pell grants are need-based. Somebody mentioned earlier the Cal grant, I believe, but that's a need-based award. Keep that in mind. If you make more than $48,000, there will not be a Cal. And there may be a middle-class Cal grant, which are a few $100s. But when you start getting above 55 and 60,000, there is no Cal grant for CSU and UC, and even private colleges in the state of California. While my mind is on a Cupid, you should be eligible for the maximum private school Cal grant. I want to make sure I fully answered your question from earlier. So we do need to talk offline, okay? Let me know you heard me on that, Mr. Cupid. All right, I'm assuming she heard me. Yes, all right. All right. Some private college universities also award need-based grants. Then we have the merit scholarships. Talked about those before. They're free money based on the student's academic merit. And also, I should have said, I didn't do this here. I don't know why I didn't. It's also athletic merit, right? These are merit awards. You can have athletic, music, art. You can have art merit awards. These are all covered under this view graph. You'll see the schools will offer scholarships based on academic. Again, it's money they give to themselves. So really just lowering the amount of the direct costs. How about a few scholarship facts? Nearly all third-party scholarships cover a portion of the indirect costs. It's extremely rare that outside scholarships cover a substantial part of direct costs. So don't depend on outside scholarships to significantly reduce the direct costs of college. Many who claim they're getting funded by a lot of third-party scholarships are really just going to get a large merit award from the school and a lot of need-based money from the school, which is okay too. This other indirect money is very helpful. People use the term scholarship and financial aid interchangeably all the time. Just was in a call the other day when somebody was doing that. I realized that they were using those interchangeably, financial aid and grants. It's different. It depends on what we're talking about. Due to that, watch for scams, be careful. Watch for people emailing you and claiming that if you pay them or let them give your child an award, they'll give you more scholarships. Then you find out it's the minimum financial aid you would have gotten anyway. So be careful about that. Never pay for scholarships. The best way to afford college is pick one that is affordable, cost sustainable, not depend on a bank or a large third-party scholarship. That will not happen. Okay, so be very careful. Any questions at this point? I'll stop. Take questions and we'll be able to finish up the meeting, which.
I have a question. Yes.
Yes, hey.
Hi,
Sister Minnie.
Deacon.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, I have a question.
Go
What
ahead.
if a person gets, say, scholarships that you say cover indirect costs, right?
Well, they get scholarships. You said scholarships. That means it's going to be written out to the school. Go ahead.
Right. What if it exceeds the indirect cost? What do they do? Say for what if
Okay.
your indirect cost is maybe say
I got you.
8,000
I
but
got
you
you.
get maybe 10,000. So you've got an extra 2,000.
Yep.
What do they do with that?
So let me ask it just slightly different to give you the answer you want.
Yeah. Okay.
The question should be, what if the financial aid I'm getting plus the scholarships, plus the scholarships, plus the scholarships total up to be more than the direct cost of the school?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you would then get a refund around October, November.
Okay. All right.
That can happen. See that again, if those were sponsorships, it would never happen. She get a check written out to her. So example, if your daughter were to get a scholarship sponsorship from us, I'm not promising, I'm just telling you,
Right.
then we would write a check out to her.
Yeah.
But on a scholarship, you're actually right. It's going to be written out to the school, UCLA or wherever. And yes, it could add up to be more than the direct cost when our financial aid is added in. And in those cases, you'll get it back. Now, be careful, because if she gets a Cal Grant, which I don't know if she's eligible or not, they would
No.
first take away her Cal Grant and then subtract it off the scholarship.
Okay. I see. All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
I have a question.
Who dat?
Camille.
Go right ahead, Camille. Hi,
Um,
Camille.
Hi. I just got like a conditional financial aid package from UC Santa Cruz.
Oh, yeah.
On there, it says like a university loan. I was wondering, like, how is that different from the other loans, I guess, type of loan?
So let's take this a little slow. So do you have it in front of you?
I
So I'm going to challenge the term university
find
loan.
it. Let me find it really quick.
Okay, I'll wait. So it's, because the two loans that we're primarily, while she's looking, parents, we're going to expect to see are direct and indirect federal loans for the student, totaling $5,500. And we're going to expect to see a parent loan on some amateur financial aid awards. A parent loan will be listed, which we know to delete out separately. We learned in earlier meetings, right, parents? But there may be a parent loan on there too. Now, if they have a university loan, that's a new curveball I'd like to know about. It could be like a Perkins loan or something like that. It's probably what they're offering.
Okay, I found it.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. It's just here. So they offer,
Just looking for the terminology university loan.
hold on one second.
Why don't you look for that? Just let me know when you found it,
Okay.
because it might take a minute. There's a lot of paperwork you're looking at over the different schools,
Okay.
probably.
Okay,
Right?
I found it now.
Okay, go ahead.
So for the loans, there's a university loan, a federal student loan.
Stop on the university loan. It says university loan.
Mm-hmm.
And how much is it?
1,500.
Okay, it's a Perkins loan. Got it. Keep going.
Okay.
I can just tell you about Perkins. It's a Perkins loan. So what you'll be able to do is volunteer and get it forgiven while you're in school. So it's like a grant, a de facto grant, because you're going to be able to work and make that up.
Okay.
I mean, I want you to volunteer for me, but they'll probably get you first.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think
Then you go over the details of your award with me separately, but that's what a university, it's going to be like a Perkins loan. We've talked about Perkins before. It's a forgivable loan. It's like a state Perkins award. It's kind of weird, but it's a university loan, meaning it's going to be forgivable if you do volunteer work for the school.
Okay. Thank you.
Are we going to visit Santa Cruz if this thing clears up? That's one of the UCs where it's
Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, you're going to visit, because that's one of the UCs. I like UC's campus, but it's a different kind of campus. It's very different. You definitely want to try to get on that campus and walk around. Have you done that?
Yeah, we went.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
When we were supposed to do the Sonoma one,
good. Okay. Good.
Together, got canceled. We still went.
Good. Okay. Good. I just want to make sure. All right. All right. Back to the presentations. Let's see if I missed anybody. I think I missed some people who are trying to communicate with me. Sorry, I'm a little slow. I'm going to read these to myself. The question was from Sandra, Sister Sandra. Oh, you made it. Good. Hello, hooray. Sister Sandra's here. Is the Cal Grant a yearly one? No. I hear people acting like it is, saying, well, I got a Cal Grant when I was a junior. And it's not. It's the university grant. So what happens is, if you get a Cal Grant your first year, you could be a candidate for the university award the second year, but that depends on the income of the parents. That's really a need-based grant, the university grant. And for UC, it bounces around. It depends on the income of the parent. I would be surprised. Well, I don't know the situation, Sister Sandra, but if she got a Cal Grant, I think you're probably asking if she didn't get it the first year, if I'm guessing. But so she could get university grant. You're right in that income area where you could get a university grant each additional year. And even this year, you get a university grant. So I'd love to know, if you received the award after this call, what were the lines on that award? Remember, I don't know anything right now. Let's see. Consolidated, looking for a student government loan website. Okay, let me see if I can answer that. I think I understand, Sister Sherry. So the parent loan and the student loan are necessarily separated. They can't be consolidated. But when you leave school, all loans can be consolidated, but separately. In other words, all your pluses can be consolidated. All your direct loans for the student can be consolidated into one loan. So they're always going to stay separate. Now, if you're asking about additional loan, is there other loan products? None that have as low of an interest rate for the parent loan or the other one. And they are actually federal loans, by the way. They're loans from the federal government, those two loans, and they cannot be pushed together. I'm actually glad they can't be pushed together. As you know, I don't know, some of you know that I think students should pay for college. And the direct loan provides an opportunity for a student to have some skin in the game and pay $250 to $300 a month when they leave college, or a smaller amount if their income's lower. But the point is, I think students should pay something for college, and I don't have a problem with it being separate. Now, on the consolidated loan that you saw on the Student Gov website, it only applies when you're finished all 4 years. You can consolidate the loans, okay? Does that help? Yeah, I don't know why the government does that. Consolidated means you finish the 4 years. But that does imply something I should bring up now. There will be different payment, like 8 different ways of paying back student loans that do involve saving money and interest in some cases. And how you consolidate is actually an interesting question. I work a lot with students when they finish college on that, how they consolidate their loans and how they handle the payments. And that's what that's referring to. I'm very familiar with that part of the site. Yes, it is. Sister Sonia, totally scary. Gosh, I wish I had covered PLUS loans this time. I didn't cover it this time. Here's what I think about PLUS loans, parents, and I'm going to be mentioning this right in front of the students, and probably it's good that I do. It only works if your student's willing to do those 18 things. I started chipping away at that. For example, if a student's not willing to take summer classes, I wouldn't do a parent loan. Because sometimes students just aren't willing to go to school in the summer. I would not do a parent loan. I mean, they've got to be willing to finish school in 4 years. Second of all, on that, if they're not willing to do some of the other things required, like look for those indirect scholarships, even though it doesn't cover direct, right? Then I would reconsider a parent loan. And then finally, if they're not willing to commit to getting ready in the summer to be on a campus, coming to my sessions, go to my ceremony, go to the summer program and get credits, get ready to go. If they're not committed to getting ready to go to college, then, you know, a 2-year college is an alternative to all those loans. And now on the student side of the house, you know, students should be very grateful if you're willing to take out a parent loan. That just shows that, you know, how much you love them. So I want to see, you know, deep commitment by students if parents are taking out loans. And then next meeting in 2 weeks, when I cover the 18 things very slowly that they could be doing, if they just do any 6 or 7 of them, they're going to reduce your parent loan every year. Again, if they don't commit to reducing your loan every year, you know, then I wouldn't do it. I hope that wasn't too long of an answer. It is scary, but I want to see those things being done. And I'm willing to tell your students that in the session in 2 weeks, which I have to talk to my team. I wanted it to be youth only before, but I think it needs to be youth and parent. And I'm going to be extremely open. Maybe a short meeting, but it'll be only about those 18 things. Sister Lawanda, I saw you.
Um,
You want me to look at the
I
text?
have a question with the loan piece. So the direct, I lost my volume. Hold on a second.
No problem. I can hear you.
Okay,
Though.
can you hear me now?
I can hear you so clearly. It's incredible.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm looking at the federal direct subsidized and the federal direct unsubsidized
Those are
on one
student
of
loans,
those award
everybody.
letters.
Those are student loans, everybody. Go ahead.
Okay, so that portion is what the student can do on their own,
That is,
period.
those are student
It's no more
loans.
there,
Those are
correct?
student loans, and it's an entitlement program. No
Yeah,
credit check. They get it automatically.
okay, and that's the maximum amount that they could get.
Correct, from the federal government.
Or it, okay, but does it fluctuate from school to school is my question.
No, not in your case.
So we got an award letter. Okay, so we got an award letter, right? And it's award summary. And it's saying, of course, she needs to get these 2 loans in order to attend this particular school, plus a student, plus a parent plus, because there is still an amount on the parent plus. My question is, does that amount, when you were talking about looking at the different, like what different schools are offering you in a packet, does each award have a different amount depending on what school it is? Does it fluctuate, or does it stay the same, doesn't matter what school it is?
So the student direct loan will always be $5,500. Let's get that straight, then I'll go on to the other 2 things. So the student direct loan will always be $2,000 plus $3,500. It will never change. Now, they might show you what it's like with their fee taken out. There's a fee of about $80. Sometimes they'll show it with the fee out, but usually they show you $2,000 and $3,500. Okay, so that will be the same every school, every time, every day of the year, every school. And that loan will go up each year to the student. The student part will go up. That student loan will increase slightly every year. I can go over those increases, but it will increase slightly. Now let's talk about the parent loan. That will vary depending on how much the school costs. The higher the cost of the school, the higher the parent loan.
Is there a way around that parent loan?
Okay.
Is a way now? Yeah, if you want to write a check, whoever said that. I didn't see who said that, but that's the answer. It's, yeah, if you're willing to write a check, you can get around it. Now, I think there's a more direct answer. Let's finish with Sister Bailey first. So that could change depending on the school. And then the grants schools offer always can be different. The grants that schools offer will always be different. Scholarships and grants. Depends on the school, what's going on at the school. Especially private schools. Oh my goodness. Private schools, they'll be all over the ball yard.
Okay.
Did that answer you, Sister Bailey, about that? First of all, let me just.
It did.
Now I want to go back to what I was trying to say about now let me tell you my opinion on the plus loan. I think you should do is list out the financial aid award. If you do spreadsheets, it's really great. And delete the parent loan and see what you have on the bottom. And that's really what you have for and take out the work study. That's another confusing thing they like to throw in there. I'll tell you why I take that out in a minute. And that total on the bottom, Sister Bailey, and whoever, I think that was someone else that had a great question in the middle there. It becomes really what your financial aid is. You have to face the facts. That's what it is. And then take that and subtract it from the direct costs, and that's what you're going to owe. And that's where you figure out your plus loan. And sometimes it's lower than they say. They love you to get the maximum plus loan. They would love that. They would love that because they know they're going to get this government.
I don't even see work study on here at all.
It doesn't have to be on every award. Some awards will have it, some won't. Some will have it, some won't. So I had to make sure I made a general comment so everybody can understand, you know. It could be, it may not. If it's not, it's okay. There's no requirement to be there. It's not a requirement. They're not required to offer work study. All right, so the big thing is to scratch out that plus loan and get your real total. And then you can figure out what your plus loan should be by just subtracting that new total from the real direct cost of the school, and that's really your plus loan. They would love for you to get it for more, right? Because then they're sure in getting more from the government. So there's a lot of, you got to think about all that and what you want to do as far as how much debt you want to carry. I think everybody kind of knows what I think about that, carrying a parent debt. Really think about it because it's going to affect your retirement. If you take 20 or 30,000 a year out, you're looking at 120,000, you're going to pay off 160 over 10 years. That's going to affect your retirement. So really think about how much debt you want to have. If you do CSU, the debt load may be zero or far lower, especially if your income is reduced anyway. You're going to get CSU for either free or almost free. Almost to me is $200 a month is almost. All right, I hope that's the more complete answer to your question. Let me see, somebody else just asked me. Yeah, I know, Sister Williams, I know. I'm gonna have to just, I know. That's all I have to say to that. Let's see, let me review several acceptance. So there's time left, Brother Marlon. Fairness to the schools, we're sitting here, it's March 29th, right? Let's be fair. Let's give them another week. I would call them and bug them.
Well, he's not coming on the walk with us, so it doesn't matter.
So, a little louder. I didn't hear you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, wait, that wasn't me.
What was the question? So the bottom line is that give them some time. It's only March 29th. May 1st is decision day. So I would start calling them, when do I expect the financial aid award? I call them every day. When do I expect the financial aid award? When do I expect the, hi, when do I expect, I call them every day till I get it.
Okay.
Starting when?
Yeah, yesterday.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Step on them.
I'm
Okay.
not looking at the target.
Especially if you know you delivered the FAFSA.
Is it possible that, or do some schools like not give financial aid award like before May 1st?
So that's a loaded question. Let's see, because it can be taken three different ways. Is it possible they won't give it? Well, they're all going to have an award. Is it possible they'll be late? Yes.
Okay.
You name the school, I'll tell you if they're known for being late. It's funny, doing this job, you know who's late all the time.
What about Cal State Long Beach?
All the time late.
Okay.
One more week. But by the way, there shouldn't be any drama. Anybody who's on my program should know what CSU is going to charge them.
Okay.
What am I going to say about, anybody going to answer that? What are you going to owe at CSU? If your income is above 60,000, what do you owe? Sister Williams?
I'm trying to make
Williams,
sure
can you answer that? What's the financial aid award going to look like if you're above 60 or 70,000?
You're still going to owe about 24,000, basically.
Well, that's right. It will vary from 18 to 24. Long Beach will be more on the 18 side.
Okay.
You don't really have to wait for the award on CSU. You know what it's going to be. On UC, you don't have to wait either. What's the waiting? You know what it is. I thought you were talking about a private school. Private schools are subject to be late too. And I'd be calling them every day.
Okay, because for Long Beach, they emailed me a number I could call for it, but I'm not sure if they were like give it to me still.
Call them up.
Okay.
Call them up. But remember, you'll hear my little voice when you get that award.
Okay.
There's really not any shock unless you get a presidential scholarship. And you would learn about that separately. They're going to ask you to apply for that separately. That would be after you've picked the school. See how these CSUs do? If you're going to be a presidential award recipient, they want to make sure you're coming to the school.
Okay.
So you won't learn about the presidential award now. Send it to San Diego State. They're going to wait and see what you, right?
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Because they don't want to award to someone who's not coming.
Okay.
Imagine that.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Back to the view charts. I think I covered everybody.
Deacon.
We have a question.
Okay, I heard Deacon first. Deacon, who said Deacon? Speak up.
Kiara.
Hi, Kiara.
Hi. So I was wondering, when do you think the financial aid packages for Boise would be arriving?
So when were you accepted? That's a loaded question.
Yeah, I was accepted.
Well, I asked when, but go ahead.
When was I accepted?
Yes, ma'am.
Probably, that was like February, early February.
All right. So in the case of Boise State, I know how they work. First of all, the process known as verification. Oh, I should say first. I do it all the time. You can actually know what it's going to be. So first, I'll tell you how you find out, and I'll tell you what I predict it will be. Okay?
Okay.
The way you can find out is you call the financial aid office up and find out what else you need. You're going to find out you need verification. How would you have found that out? At the Student Center on your Boise State portal, you can find out. But I bet you need verification. Verification is a process where they're going to just verify the income of your parent, which they found out that you're right. And you will end up getting the full coverage from the federal aid package, plus either the WUI or the other. Now, did you get awarded a WUI?
What is that again?
Western Undergraduate Exchange.
No, I don't think
How
so.
do you
but
know? Did you look at the Student Center?
Do
we need a session
for that? When I got my email and when they sent a letter of my acceptance, it was only a scholarship.
Oh, yes. I want to know which one it was.
I think it was the treasure one.
Okay, so you could be upgraded because you're in my program. Isn't that wonderful?
Okay.
So you did receive a treasure award for $7,000 or $8,000, but that can be upgraded to a WUI, which is 12 to 15.
Okay.
Now, how do you do that? You have to be able to tell me today, unequivocally, you're going to Boise State. I'll start negotiations. Okay, let's talk offline.
Yes, sir.
Offline. See, I want you to start thinking about that because that's what I'm going to say to you.
Okay.
Because I'll go in and get some money for you. But I got to know you're going. And also, I can show you how to look at the Student Center.
Okay.
So let's have a separate call on Zoom where I can show you the screen. You know what I mean?
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
And there was another person who didn't say Deacon had a question.
Yeah, we had a question about Merced and how much we would owe for Merced.
Who dat?
Kayla. Kayla Joy.
What'd you say?
Kayla Joy Cupid. So because Merced, we're having a hard time, we won't be able to get there unless we take a road trip, on the documented road trip.
I can help with that. Yes.
Oh.
I can help with how you approach that.
Okay, we'll talk to you offline.
Yeah. Let me just say, because only reason why I'm going to do it that way because I'm going to be asking your mother financial questions, and I don't want to put it on blast.
Thank you.
Because once I know that, I can tell you what you owe for Merced.
Gotcha.
That risk of exposure will decide whether we actually how we decide on the school or not.
Okay.
Hint though, I think Merced is extremely underrated.
I've heard a lot of stuff as well about that. I mean, yes. I have friends who've gone there.
Yes.
Children who've gone there.
Yes.
And they say great things about it, but then you look online, you Google it, and you hear no Black kids, not represented.
Well, no Black kids is pretty much common with every UC.
I know.
What's the matter with it being common there?
Oh, I'm okay. We're okay with that. This is the other people who are looking out for us. Yeah, I mean, we mix well, so we're okay with not having a bunch of Black kids. But
definitely have that talk offline.
Okay. I'm coming.
Close your mic. Any other questions?
Sorry.
Anyway, you see our viewpoint on scholarships. We're almost done, parents. The students should apply for scholarships for sure. But I think scholarships, though they're nice, are a little overrated because of what I hear parents hope and expect they will do. They're important, but they're a little overrated. They're not going to cover a major part of your gap. Keep that in mind, or else we wouldn't have parent loans, right? Direct costs are major college costs. Typical scholarship is going to be $1,500 to $2,000. So third-party scholarships are good for indirect costs. Best results come with many applications and high persistence, which is why I said earlier that that's something you want to look at, you know, as a student, really helping with that. The highest scholarships are with the highest GPAs and SATs. Need-based is the second highest category. Incomes of 45,000 or less, maybe 50,000. You see the best. And here are the biggest mistakes on scholarship applications. Very general recommendations like whom it makes concern. When I do recommendations, I always make it personalized. But you may find whoever. Could you close your mic real quick? Close your mics, please. Thanks. I see here some noise there. The problem is, like, you may have seen, like, if a teacher writes a recommendation, they'll put to whom it may concern. They want you to use it for a lot of different schools. But as a person who's been on scholarship committees, I don't even look at those. I feel like I'm getting the same thing everybody else gets. But when I do a scholarship recommendation, I'll write your name, you know, I'll write the name of the scholar, to dear Miss So-and-so, dear so-and-so scholarship committee. That's very important. Applying for scholarships due to the amount. Oh, it's a big scholarship, but no regard for if you meet the qualifications. And then, of course, late applications. Again, I'm trying to increase your chance that your work in applying for the scholarship is worth it, that you actually can get some of those scholarships. Okay? Let's see, this is the same, I believe, yes, okay. Here's some top third-party scholarship sources last year. Just look at that list. This is where they came from last year. Look around and see, this is the last 6 years of my students. I took the top, those are the top ones, okay? Top 10, I think I did there. How to find a scholarship? Well, we're not a search organization, but you can search. Use Google. Google's a good way to find scholarships. Check your parents on sources. Use College Scholarships 2020, search for scholarships. Search 2 or 3 times. This is a good time to be searching your home anyway, hint, hint. Didn't get any amens, that's fine. I guess all the mics closed. You should be looking, you know, half hour a day looking for scholarships. Only apply when you meet the requirement now. Don't apply for scholarships just to apply. Print out and read all forms and directions. Watch the due dates. Okay, I see some people. I got some questions here. Fast web is overrated. Gets a lot of junk mail when you're finished. Whoever asked about fast web. I like the Google approach. You be your own fast web. How's that? It's credible, but you're gonna get a lot of junk mail and fight through a lot of meaningless scholarships and a lot of stuff, okay? I hope that answers just some. Sean said, Sister Hunt, you said amen? Shame on you. No, actually, you're right, Sister Sean? You know, you think? I think just Google and find some. Hey, if you want, Chisama, you call me up one night here and we'll just get Zoom up. Well, I'll show you how to, I'll search and I'll prove it to you and pull scholarships out. They're out there, they're on the tree, pick them. Now, those scholarships, remember parents, are not gonna cover the direct costs, just the indirect cost. They're not gonna be huge scholarships. I know people, the college people always say look for scholarships, but they're trained to do that. They wanna get enrollment. Okay? All right, I think I do have a list of sponsorships. I don't do lists because you know why? They change every second, every year, but I teach people to look for them. Now that I said that, I just lied. I just lied to Sister Bailey. I know Christina's laughing at me. Don't laugh at me, Christina, wherever you are. Open your mic up. Christina, you hear me? Turns out you go to my website, Sister Bailey, www.westa.eep, www.westa-eep, and scroll down, and move your cursor along the top and look for scholarships. Click scholarships, Now, I've only told people who attend the meetings this. I hope that helps, Mr. Bailey. Okay. Well, the questions are more, that was the last view graph.